KREM 2 News at Noon begins now.
Right now, right here on KREM 2 News at Noon, we are tracking multiple wildfires in the region, prompting evacuations.
And we've got cooler temperatures today, but we also have some red flag warnings in place, so we'll talk about that in your full forecast.
All right, so some good news to talk about. The Seahawks are back to work. We'll take a look at their Renton training camp and the fans who could not wait to spend time with their favorite players. Hi everyone, it is so good to see you. Welcome to KREM 2 News at Noon. I'm Laura Papetti, and we begin by talking about weather and fire danger. Right now, areas of the inland northwest are under a red flag warning, and that's at least until 9 o'clock tonight. And it's all related really to those very dry conditions and the gusty winds out there today. Brandon T. Jones is standing by with the latest. Brandon, the real fear, of course, is something that could ignite a fire and that wind spread it.
Absolutely, Laura, and that's exactly why those burn bans are in effect throughout the entire state of Washington and several counties in Idaho as well. So when we see those burn bans, I know we may think they're just kind of a recommendation. No, they're absolutely something that we have to follow because it keeps all of us safe, not only our homes, but animals, the environment. It's keeping all of us safe. So make sure we abide by those burn bans that are in place because today we are in a red flag warning. It's gusty winds, dry conditions. We do have cooler temperatures today, which is something to celebrate, but nonetheless, once we kind of just get through today, we can, have a little bit more fun, but just make sure you follow those burn bans because they're in place for a reason. As for right now, you can see just how hazy it is over Lake Coeur d'Alene, seeing those waves a little bit choppy as well. Right now, 73 degrees with the winds moving around 16 miles per hour. I think we'll stay in the 70s for our high, but we'll talk about that in our full forecast just a bit later in the show.
This afternoon, the town of Keller is under a level 3 go now evacuation order, and this is because of the Swawilla fire burning on the Colville Reservation. The Department of Natural Resources saying people living from Empire Creek Road to Silver Creek Road on Highway 21 need to leave right now. The Ferry County Sheriff's Office reports crews have set up evacuation shelters at the Lake Roosevelt High School gym and Pascal Sherman Indian School. The Swawilla fire is believed to be burning about 20,000 acres, and it is 0% contained at this hour. We'll bring you an update as soon as we learn more right here, of course, on KREM 2 and KREM.com. Now, just yesterday, the crews fighting this fire were preparing the Keller community for this exact scenario. Northern Rockies Team 6 is in charge of managing wildfires across Montana, Idaho, and Washington. So they organized a community meeting at the Keller Community Center to go over evacuation plans. People there say they've grown more concerned as fires inch closer towards the neighborhoods over the past few fire seasons.
The weather's been different and the fire behavior has been a lot different. There's a lot more fuel than there used to be out there on the forest floor.
The Swawilla fire is not the only fire threatening homes in the area. The smaller Bridge Creek fire has burned more than 3,000 acres, also 0% contained. Fire crews say data on the containment of both fires will be looked at and released to the community over the next couple of days as crews continue to work. All right, so let's take a look at this. Chelan Fire and Rescue took a boat to help crews already fighting what's called the Pioneer Fire. The fire district posted this video yesterday, and you can see they loaded up everything, even their trucks, and then went towards Stehekin, and they joined crews from Spokane, Lewis, Benton, and Skagit counties. The Pioneer Fire is currently burning about 30,000 acres, so doing what they can. All right, today we are learning more about why the defense team for Brian Kohberger wants his trial moved out of Latah County. His attorneys say the atmosphere has been, quote, utterly corrupted, and he believes he cannot get a fair trial there. KREM 2 Shannon Mounty is bringing you more to every story, speaking with an Idaho legal expert about what it could take to move that trial.
The defense team says publicity for the case has not stopped since 4 students were killed in November 2022. They point to a community survey showing nearly all adults in Latah County have heard of this case, but is that enough to move it? Brian Kohberger's defense team argues his trial must be moved due to, quote, pervasive, inflammatory, often inaccurate, and highly prejudicial publicity, and a small jury pool. Former Attorney General Dave Leroy says it's not just about how well known a case is.
But the test here is Idaho Criminal Rule 21, and that is a test of, can a fair and impartial trial be had in Latah County?
The defense surveyed Latah County adults and said analysis showed most are biased and have misleading or false information about the case. The defense says case recognition in Latah County is 98%, with 70% already believing the defendant is guilty. They're asking Judge John Judge to consider Ada County.
But, of course, the Kohberger case has had a great deal of publicity here. There are a number of Idaho vandals who attended the university and have followed the case very closely. So one cannot pretend that people in Ada County have not heard about the case.
Though Leroy says Ada County residents wouldn't be as close to the case or the crime scene. And as for how often venue changes are granted in Idaho,
it's not particularly common.
Leroy says of the tens of thousands of criminal cases in Idaho, a few hundred actually go to trial.
And among those, there are very, very few that have the degree of publicity or potential for prejudice that call for a change of venue.
Similarly high-profile cases in Idaho against Lori Vallow Daybell and husband Chad Daybell did have a venue change. In his ruling, Fremont County Judge Stephen Boyce called publicity in eastern Idaho prejudicial and sometimes inflammatory, and also cited Ada County's larger jury pool and courthouse. There is a change of venue hearing set for August 29th. Trial is set to start June 2nd and run through late August 2025. Judge Judge wrote, if the venue is changed, those trial dates will not change. Shannon Mowdy, KREM 2 News.
12:07 right now, and still ahead on KREM 2 News at News. Kamala Harris is in Houston today, and this is following President Biden's Oval Office speech endorsing her last night. The latest from the campaign trail, that's coming up in 2 minutes.